hope you're all doing great. Thank you for being here today. Happy World Read Aloud. I'm so excited that we've created time to be here. Thank you for being here today. Um, I'm your host today. I'm Magdalene Charango from EduTab Africa, and I'm joined by my team members who will be helping me throughout the session. Faith Wanja, Victor Mula, where you're from, share who you are, where you're tuning in from, and why you're excited to be here today. Feel free to share in the chat, please. So in the meantime, let me share my screen so that you can kickstart the session. Faith, please help me navigate the chat. Okay, here we go. Okay. Then we can kickstart. So today is World Read Aloud Day. The general theme for the World Read Aloud Day 2026 is celebrating learning. And we are narrowing down to helping children grow into confident readers. Um, as we go along, we'll be sharing our experiences in Read Aloud. So I do not know whether all of us have been to a Read Aloud event or setting, or this. So, one of us has not experienced it yet, but you do not have to worry about that because we'll experience that today. So this is the theme that we'll be focusing on. And yes, so let me take you quickly through some house rules. Um, okay. Please make sure you're muted if someone is speaking. Feel free to raise your hand if you would love to say something. Yes, and this meeting is being recorded. So in case you do not feel comfortable appearing in the video, please make sure that your video is off. Yes, thank you. My device is quite acting up. I can't move the slides, so I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute.
As you fix that, Magdalene, quickly I'll read a message that we have from Tabitha Nyongesa from Ranen. I hope I've read that correctly. From Migori County, a mother of 3 under 4 years. And she's very excited to be here because I will read as she has written. I am excited to be here because I am attending this session with my kids. Oh, that's lovely, Tabitha. I want them to be confident readers. Thank you for sharing this amazing program with us all.
Oh, welcome. Welcome, Tabitha. Okay, so here we go again. Yes, so as I had mentioned, this is a free space, please. Free and safe space, yes. This is a safe space to share what we have experienced in Read Alouds, and to share what we have experienced in Read Aloud settings. And even if you've never been in one before, just share you're looking forward to be in one because of this reason or the other. So in a nutshell, today we'll look at the importance of Read Aloud. We'll share our different experiences in Read Aloud, and then we'll have a Read Aloud session, of course, and then now we'll close with question and answer sessions. Yes, so let's get right into it. So first, I would love to take you through who African Children Story Reading Network is. podcast is. I'm not certain podcast. So in this case, I'll be calling it SCS. So anytime you hear SCS, it's African Children's Stories Podcast. I'm not quite certain if all of us know about it. So African Children's Stories Podcast is a program under EduTab Africa. EduTab Africa is an edtech company science falls under is produced in Africa, and it's a space for children, parents, and educators to explore the joy of storytelling and building a reading culture in Africa. Okay, so why are we targeting parents? Why are we targeting educators? Why children? We're targeting parents because we are so big on family bonding. How does it look like for a parent to have a storytelling moment with their kid? We're looking at uh, building relationship with your children at home through storytelling. When we're talking about educators, we're thinking about educators using our stories as learning resources in their learning areas. Okay, and of course, another target is children. We cannot talk about children's stories without having children included. Yes, so how do we do this? As I had mentioned, we produce audio stories. So we produce interactive audio stories and visual stories. For those who have joined quite early, you've seen that there was an animation that was going on. I hope you've enjoyed the story. You can find the animation on our YouTube channel as well. Yes, and the other thing we do is hosting read alouds. For example, that is why you're here today. We do both virtual and physical read alouds. So, yes, I hope you'll really, really have fun in this session today. Yes, I think I've talked a lot, and now it's your time. I have a question for us. What is that someone read for you while you are young, and why? One story you can remember that you read or someone read for you. Answers and the chat while you read, or someone read for you while you are young, and why. Yes. One of the stories that I can remember, and this is one that I would say someone read for me. Someone actually, I don't know whether they memorized and told it to me, but I'll put it that way. Because I think that these, oral tales that are transferred from one generation to the other, um, why the tortoise has a cracked shell. Yes, I remember that story like it was yesterday. My dad narrated it to me. Yeah, and it was exciting to see. Okay, I think one of the things that make me remember it most is how engaging he was and how he dramatized it. The falling, the friendship between the tortoise and the birds, the gluttonous nature of the tortoise that made the birds pluck their feathers when they got to heaven and saw all those riches, and tortoise wanted all of them, and then the tortoise had a very, very, very bad fall that his shell cracked into pieces. So those are the kinds of story that I still remember, and the reason I remember is it was how it was narrated to me. First, I felt it was narrated with love, and then the dramatization dramatization followed. There was a lot of entertainment to it. Yes, and it had a moral lesson. Yes, so that's one of the stories that I remember. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Maggie.
I
I have
welcome
a
anyone to share.
I have a response
Yes.
from the chat. So Jen says, "Good matata. We used to have a story session back in primary where we would read it in front of the class, and this one was an example my teacher back then used to narrate it for us, as we followed afterwards with other stories narrating them to our fellow children." That is quite a familiar story because we also read Got Matata back in the day. And another story that would compete with Got Matata was Muddy Muddy Wedding. I do not know why Muddy Muddy Wedding stuck with me. It's either because of the cover page where there was the bride being carried by Mkokoteni. I do not know whether that image is the one that stuck with me, but that is one of the stories that I remember from my childhood.
Mm. Thank you so much, Faith. Yeah, I also remember reading Mandy Muddy Wedding. Okay. Is there any other response? Okay, then if not, I'll just move to the next slide. So these experiences that we have just shared about reading aloud form the component of the importance of reading aloud. They might not have been pointed out, but these are the things that come uh, alive. When we talk about enhancing interpretation skills, the point where you're reading a story or narrating a story to someone, or someone is narrating a story to you, and they ask you, what do you think will happen next? That builds your interpretation skills because it gives room to the listener to actually think, by the way, what actually happened? And they'll give you maybe this, maybe that, maybe, yes. So reading aloud builds vocabulary. Yes, it doesn't matter in what language, but while you're reading stories or okay, listening to stories aloud, you get new words in different languages that you've listened to that story. And it promotes creativity, it promotes critical thinking and also problem solving. When you ask someone or the listener, what do you think this character should do? This character has a certain problem. What do you think they should do? Or there's a certain conflict. How should this character solve this kind of conflict? Yeah, so reading aloud also expands imagination. The bit where a listener is forced actually, or is put in a position where they need to imagine the actual setting of that particular story. That's expanding the imagination because the way I would imagine a tortoise, for example, falling from heaven is different from the way someone else would imagine it. Especially if you're not told that the tortoise fell on his back, you will start thinking maybe, he fell maybe on the sides, but that imagination is just different for different listeners. So it expands imagination in that way. And then reading, okay, sorry. Reading a story aloud um, promotes emotional bond and socialization. This is the bit where you're talking about how does it look like for parents to have storytelling moments with their kids. That bonding session is what we are looking for. Like, for example, we encounter a character who has had a very sad encounter. How do we handle that? You find maybe the child is quite an empath and they start crying because of that character. this is how do you handle this as the narrator, as the parent. Yes, so it creates that emotional bonding and socialization. And this is not just, parent child, it's also about the educator and student. Yes, so these are not all, we've not listed all the importances of Read Aloud, but these are the most common uh, things that come out when we're talking about the impact of Read Aloud on children. Yes. So here I have something for us. I would love us to share what we are seeing on my screen. Please feel free to unmute. Just unmute and tell me what you're seeing on the screen right now.
I can see a giraffe.
Mm. Yes, there's a giraffe here, and I wonder what this giraffe is doing here. Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm.
I can see words, a lot of words. I can read like two random ones. I can see reading fluency.
Oh, okay, interesting. There are quite a number of words here. Uh-huh.
I can see a mountain kind of a thing.
A mountain. Yeah, a mountain. We have a mountain here. Yeah, it's my screen. I can also see African Children's Stories podcast logo. And I'm certain you can also see the stop sharing icon at the corner. But thank you. Thank you so much. So with me here, yes, yes.
I see is it a mountain or an iceberg? Because it seems like the other part is submerged in water.
Interesting. How about we find out? So, yeah. We have a giraffe here. Yeah, this giraffe, I think it's just a decoration on this slide. And then we have the main thing here that looks like a mountain. And at the same time, it's an iceberg. So the only the only thing that is elevating it from being a mountain, it's like it looks like it's submerged in water. So yeah, so we'll go with an iceberg. So I have an iceberg here that I would love us to crush. And by crushing it, I want us to understand the different skills that we need to equip our children or our learners for them to become fluent readers. So I'm going to pose a question. When you say these words here, okay, so when you start thinking it in terms of the iceberg, we have the lower part that is submerged in water and the bit that is above the water, okay? Do these words, all these words, do they intertwine or how do I structure this question? These words here, does one word affect the other? Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Does one word or some words affect the other? And just by looking at it and the imagination that there are words that are below the water and there are words that are above the surface. Are there words here that affect the other?
If I am getting your question right, you're asking whether the words that I can read at skilled reading have an effect on the words that I can find on upper strands language comprehension or lower strands word recognition. Yeah. So you're asking if there is a correlation between each group of words. Oh, got it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I
Can
should
I
have
give
used
it an
yes.
attempt now that I have understood the question? Okay.
Yes, please.
This is a trial. I think decoding where there is lower strands, there is something called decoding, alphabetic principle, letter sound correspondences. I think that highly affects vocabulary, which I'm finding on upper strands, because in my thinking, I cannot understand a vocabulary if I do not know how to decode alphabets. I must learn about alphabets for me to understand vocabulary. Have I gotten that right?
Actually, yeah, and I wonder how that was a child. Yes, you've gotten it right, Faith. And actually, you've put the question more straightforward. For a learner to understand vocabulary, they need to decode the letter sounds, the alphabetic principle. They need to understand that for them to understand vocabulary. I want to welcome any other observation. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to welcome another observation. Whether it's a word where you think it's a skill where you think Alana has. For example, when you're talking about sight recognition, have you ever been in a situation where you realize that Alana or your child just does things depending on the memory? You find that you have arranged the glass this way, and when you send them to do it, they just do it the way you do it. I'm doing it because mom or dad does it just like that. So I'm welcoming any other input or insight as to like what we are understanding here, especially in the lower strand and the upper strand, and how they correlate.
Hello.
Yes, hello. I can't see your name because I'm sharing the screen. Hi.
My name is Titus Musungu.
Welcome, Titus.
Thank you. So for me, okay, I'm viewing this image as a holistic picture in terms of skilled reading, where all the three parts probably complement one another, because the upper part of the iceberg has let's say skilled reading, which is let's take for example the first option, reading fluency. So for a learner to master the skill of fluently reading, or that reading fluency, he or she must have gone through, let's say, the language structures in the upper strands, and then he or she must have also gone through the lower strands, which is like let's say decoding the letter sound correspondences. So one must have gone through all the basics in the upper strands and the lower strands for him or her to probably read fluently. That is how I'm seeing the picture as a holistic spectrum in terms of skilled reading.
Wow. Thank you so much, Titus, for the input. So Titus has put everything together. First, we had started with how the lower strand and the upper strand correlate. But now he has put them together and say that someone or a child or a learner needs the lower strand and the upper strand for them to be the skilled reader, like the one on top of the iceberg. Oh, Thank you so much, Titus. Yeah, and yeah, it's something that I highly agree with. Yes, that's the whole picture about this image. Does that even make sense? Yes. Thank you so much, Titus. Yes, I'm welcoming more input and, of course, a lot of observation in this particular slide. Yes. Even if it's a stage that you have realized you have learned or experienced with your child and your learner, you can just elaborate it. For example, when we're talking about decoding and we're talking about letter sound correspondences in alphabetic principle, at what point did a learner or a child realize that when we actually say bag, there's b, g included there? So just any input is welcome, and any observation. Faith, please help me navigate the chat if there's any response in the chat.
On it, Meg. So far, we do not have another response.
Okay. Okay, so as we are crashing the iceberg together, I think I've elaborated more on the lower strands bit about sight recognition, decoding the alphabetic principle and the letter sound, and the phonological awareness. So on the upper strand, we can quickly look into the background knowledge. This is where your child is inferring to things or words that make sense to them. For example, if we're talking about a lion, or let me just use this giraffe here. We are talking about a giraffe. So the first thing that would come to their mind is it's we have the background knowledge at this stage with the upper strands. I think a child is able to
Maggie, we are losing you a little bit there.
put
Your internet
together
is
what makes sense to
crashing.
them. Yes.
We are losing you a bit.
Oh my God.
Your internet has crashed a little bit. We have missed a segment of your statement.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. And what about now?
You're good now.
Okay. Yes. I don't know if you've heard about the background knowledge, but the background knowledge is about what makes sense, what a child uses to make sense to whatever they're being told. And this relates to something they already know. So I was saying, for example, we take an example of this giraffe. If you're telling a story about a giraffe, the first thing that will come to the child's mind is this is an animal who has a long neck. But here we have a camel and we have a camel and a giraffe. But a giraffe is a wild animal, so it cannot be a camel. You see, those kind of background knowledge that help them make sense of things and understand things. That is what we are talking about in the language comprehension, because with that background, now they can understand when you mention a giraffe, they can understand what you are actually talking about. And then we're talking about language structures, just learning how to position words and phrases in a sentence. There's verbal reasoning, literacy knowledge, understanding different types of, let me just say, books and stories. For example, a child can identify that this is a myth, this is a legend, this is a comic story, because of the characters that have been used in that story. Yes. So for kids, for vocabulary, you realize that kids that have rich vocabulary do not take less efforts understanding unfamiliar words. So in as much as the word might seem quite new and challenging to read, they can easily do it with less effort, and they can easily decode it just because they have rich vocabulary. And with verbal reasoning, you realize that kids can infer things to something else, like, for example, use metaphors to relate to things. So you realize that this lower strand and the upper strand, they both need each other for them to complete and for us to get someone who is skilled at reading. So when we have the lower strand and the upper strand, we have someone who reads fluently, can understand what they're reading, and still make meaning of it while they are reading. Yes. So yeah, that is how we wanted us to crash our iceberg. And thank you so much for your participation. Yes. So I'll someone wants to speak.
Magdalene, just a slight input or a quick question. Tabitha has sorry, Tabitha, for throwing you under the bus right now. You have just told us that you're joining us with your children. Can you identify sometimes some of the words that your children know? And if those stories they know because of the conversations that you have with them, are there words that they have learned just because you had conversations with your children?
If you can hear us, you can just unmute and share. I will let Tabitha share in the chat. I think we can move to the next segment.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So yeah, here. One of the most exciting sessions. So I would love us to read aloud together. We cannot talk about a read aloud without reading aloud a story together. So I would love us to share what all of us can see on the screen. Feel free to unmute and share, or feel free to type in the chat. What can you see?
Hello.
The slides that I have just shared. Yes, hello.
My name is Trufena Masamo and I can see a frog.
Hi, Trufena. Karibu.
Hi.
Welcome to this session.
Thank you.
Okay, so Trufena can see a frog. Yes, there's a frog here. And the frog is actually saying something. Okay. Yeah, let me not.
Jen
I
can
think
see a book cover.
I see
Jen
a
can
book.
see.
I see a
Okay,
book cover.
so there's a. Yeah.
And
Okay.
the book
So
cover kind of is already kind of tells the story, because you can see the illustration of the cover. It already gives you an idea of the story, so it kind of feels like a nice cover. It's eye-catching to children, I guess.
Hmm. Interesting. So, what is this illustration on the cover?
Well, the crocodile and the way it's looking at the tree, obviously there's something going on between whatever is in the tree and the crocodile. There's a monkey. Now I see the monkey. Without actually reading below, I was already looking at the crocodile and the cover, and I can tell that the crocodile is engaging with whatever is in the tree, but in a nice way, not in a, something I'd be interested to know.
Interesting. Yes, we can see a frog in this the cover page, and okay, so I will ask us what the frog is asking us. The frog is asking, what do you notice about the cover? I think something that has already been mentioned is the crocodile conversing with the monkey and in a nice way. I think that's one observation. What else do we notice about the cover?
It has the title, Crocodile and Monkey Were Friends. I can notice that about the cover.
Yeah, there's a tree that has some fruits. Yes, that's interesting. So that is more about what we can notice about the cover. So what do we think the story is about? We've already said that this is a book cover, so of course there's something underneath, okay? And now, what do we think the book is about?
For me, I think since the title is Crocodile and Monkey Were Friends, then by the end of the story, we will know why they're no longer friends.
Hey, oh my God, that's interesting. Why does the friendship have to end?
I also think there's the monkeys on top of a tree where there are fruits. So probably the crocodile wanted some fruits and then the monkey refused. I don't know. Or maybe the crocodile was borrowing some fruits. Does crocodile eat fruits actually? Yes.
Maybe the story doesn't have a lot to do with their friendship. Maybe it has a lot to do with not wanting other people's things. Like maybe the crocodile really wants the fruits. Alafu by the end of the book, the crocodile realizes, so I'm good in the water anyway. So maybe that's the moral story. Maybe the monkey helps the crocodile realize that.
Interesting. I also think maybe okay. Maybe the monkey wanted to cross to the other side of the river and was switch talking. The monkey wanted to cross the other side and was switch talking the crocodile to help her do that. Maybe. Wow. I really love this kind of perspective. We all have our story. So how about we how about we keep these interpretations and imaginations we have and see how the story will unfold. And then at the end we discuss what made us really predict that this is what was going to happen and how we feel about the turn of events. So yeah, so we'll get right to it. I'll stop sharing and I'll stop my screen. Then Jen will help with sharing the story. Okay, I hope my screen has disappeared now. And in the meantime, I need some help. So we're going to have a story. I will be your narrator, okay? And then I need volunteers. I need someone to play the role of the monkey. I need someone to play the role of the crocodile and another to play the role of the crocodile's grandmother. Very simple things. You just voice the characters. So I need 3 volunteers. I can see Trifena has already volunteered. Which character do you want to pick? Monkey, crocodile, crocodile's grandmother.
Crocodile's grandmother.
Hi, a crocodile. We already have crocodile's grandmother. Another volunteer to read the monkey. Okay, I can see Faith. Faith will read the monkey, and then now we have the crocodile. Who will read for us the crocodile? Okay.
Okay, I could do the crocodile if there are no takers.
Okay. Hi. Okay, thank you. So our story today is titled Crocodile and the Monkey Were Friends. Yeah, the story is written by Ntombi Kanyise Malaza and illustrated by Sibusiso Humalo. Yes, so you can go to the first page. Thank you. Crocodile and monkey were best friends. Crocodile lived in a river. Monkey lived in a tree next to the river. Crocodile ate fish from the river. Monkey ate fruits from the tree. Crocodile's child was extremely sick. Crocodile's grandmother told her,
Only a monkey's liver will cure the child.
So at this point, I would love to ask, how do you think crocodile feels now? If you could put yourself in crocodile's shoes, the child is that your friend's liver is the only one that can cure your child. So how do you think crocodile feels now?
Broken.
Broken.
Devastated, I think. And I think once they have received the news, they will be determined to find a monkey.
Devastated, broken. Yeah. Okay, let's move to the next page. Wait. I think I have another question here. What do you think the crocodile will do next? So if you are a crocodile, what would you do?
I think
So you're
naturally
here.
a parent will do anything to save their child. So I think the crocodile will just go find that liver.
Interesting. But okay. There's also the idea where maybe find the liver from someone else. Okay, no, that does not make sense. From someone else is not a monkey, but now it's only a monkey's liver that will cure the child. Oh, yeah, maybe a parent will do anything to save their baby. Okay, let's find out. Let's get to the next page. So, Crocodile invited Monkey to her house in the river. She offered to carry Monkey on her back. As Crocodile was swimming, she told Monkey about her sick child.
Only monkey liver will cure him, sighed Crocodile sadly.
Oh, Crocodile is very sad. So At this point, Crocodile has delivered the news that her child is very sick and has said that only the monkey's liver will cure him. So, what do you think, or what if you were a monkey? What would you do? You are already on the crocodile's back, and you are going to their house, and has broken the news that your liver is the only thing that will cure their child. So, if you were a monkey, what would you do?
Jump over to the land side, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that's one thing. Can monkeys swim? I have no idea. Can monkeys swim? Because if you look at it, I don't think the crocodile will eat the monkey, and they need the liver for their baby. So, if you're a monkey, what would you do?
I think if I was the monkey and I'm in a crocodile's house, I'll certainly sit near the door because I'll start getting suspicious.
Well. Okay, let's find out. I love this. I love our imagination. I love how we are interpreting this, and I love how we are solving this because we are putting ourselves in the monkey's shoes. So let's see how the story will unfold. Please turn to the next page. Huh.
You should have told me before we left,
cried Monkey.
I kept my liver in the tree. Let us go and get it,
she said. Crocodile swam back to the riverbank. Monkey jumped off the bark and ran into the tree. Crocodile waited. Crocodile waited for a long time. Monkey did not return. The end. Yay! That's the end of our story. Why do you think the monkey did not return?
It's a clever monkey. Abort mission. Abort mission.
Yeah, so the monkey did not return. So there were quite a number of interpretations on how the story will end. And I think someone got it right. Someone mentioned that this story will tell us why crocodile and monkey were never friends again. Someone mentioned that. So at this point, do you think maybe their friendship, they reconnected again? Or just because the monkey never returned, the friendship died?
That friendship must have died.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I think so too. That friendship must have died because when you think at it from the angle where my friend is willing to take my liver to save their baby, then that's not a friend. Oh my God. That's a sad realization. I hope Monkey got other friends. Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Janice. You can stop sharing your screen. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we just want to have a quick reflection on the kind of questions that on the questions that we have just answered. Just quick run through because of the interest of time. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so we were talking about this story, and one of the questions that we asked was, what do you notice about the cover? What do you think about the book? So if you remember, when we were cracking our iceberg, now we are putting together the skills that we were building through reading aloud this story and asking those particular questions. So I'll just brush through very quick. Like, for example, the first question is activating the background knowledge, because when we know, when you're talking about a crocodile lives in water. So that's the kind of background knowledge that we are activating. And then the second question was, how do you think the crocodile feels now? The crocodile learns that their child is extremely sick, and the only thing that can cure their child is their friend's liver. So this kind of question develops empathy and emotional intelligence to the learner or whoever is listening to the story. And then there were questions about, what do you predict the crocodile might do next? I mean, this is your friend. Would you take their liver to save your child? You see, those kind of questions strengthen prediction and reasoning. And questions, what would you do if you were a monkey? It promotes creative thinking and problem solving, because here now you're thinking about, saving your life, or severing your, or giving up on your friendship and all that. Okay, so why do you think the monkey never returned? These are questions that expand your reasoning and your creativity to think, maybe you can continue the story. Maybe you can say they reconnected later, and maybe this time around it was monkey was in that situation, and now they get to understand the monkey's situation. So these kinds of questions, when you ask them in between the story, you get to build these kind of skills to your child, or for the educator, your learner. So yeah, this is what makes Read Aloud very interesting and very enjoyable. I really hope you have enjoyed this storytelling session, and I would love to move to the next section, which is question and answer. Yeah, at this point, I welcome questions, if any, and actually welcome comments. If you've really enjoyed the story, tell us why you've enjoyed the story. Was it your first time hearing about it, or have you had any other version of this story? Yes, please, this is the time. Feel free to share the same. Yeah, and my device is acting up again. Oh, here we go. Yes, so I welcome questions and comments about the session. Any other thing that you have learned today about Read Aloud? Do you want to go try it at home? Yes, please feel free to unmute, and also feel free to share in the chat if you're not in a position to talk.
Thank you so much. I think I'll start. Yeah, so I think the session has been interesting. I've never been to a session like this. This is my first time, and I think I've found it quite interesting and good. So probably a reflection on maybe an addition to the way you've explained regarding that story. So I think the other angle I will look at how the monkey reacted to the crocodile is when we are faced with dangers, we normally have probably two options. We normally have the first option is to fight, and the other option is flight, that is taking off. So if that danger seems to be let me say, enormous or bigger than how you can handle it, then of course you take flight, you take off like the monkey did. So it's a good lesson to give even to our children, that in cases where they find danger or their safety is at risk, then the story tells us or teaches us to taking off is not a weakness. It's just one way of ensuring your safety.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. So, flight was the only option here. Wow. Thank you so much, Titus. Thank you. And I'm glad that you have enjoyed this session. I'm tempted to do a follow-up question, but I think you've already answered it. Let me just say I'm glad to hear that this was your first time and that you have enjoyed the session. Yes. I welcome more comments. Yes.
We do have another comment. Wangari says, "Love the opportunities to engage the audience to be part of the story."
Oh, thank you so much, Wangari. Thank you. Okay, I for one, I enjoyed narrating the story. I've been your yours truly narrator. I've really enjoyed that session. If there are no questions or comments, or just give room 1 more minute so that I do not close anyone out. Trifena, have you ever been to this kind of session before?
This is actually my first one, and I have enjoyed it.
Interesting. How did
Pardon?
sorry, I think we are having internet hitches, or I don't know whether it's my side. No, I was just asking how you found it, and you've said you enjoyed it. Maybe just ask which part you enjoyed the most.
The narration part.
Thank you for voicing grandmother's crocodile's grandmother. Yeah.
You're welcome, and I hope to attend more of this.
Yes, please. You're also most welcome.
We have another comment from Melody. "It's been amazing. I've loved it. Next time I will be more vocal."
Welcome, Melody. And yes, we are hoping to see you next time. Yes. I'll quickly move to the next session. There are no more comments and questions. So I would love to share some resources with you. One of them being where you can listen to African children's stories. So we have a podcast channel on Spotify. It's called African Children's Stories. So you go to your Spotify. For people who use Spotify, you find African Children's Stories podcast. Yeah, there. We will share this resource. So these links are clickable. Don't worry about the links. Yes, and then we have the African Children's Stories website. There you can find our stories and other programs that African Children's Stories does, like Proverbs Corner, Super Jua. Of course, I would really love you to go and explore the website. And then I mentioned earlier that we we do audio stories. So someone might ask or will ask, where do you get these stories? Do you write your stories? Do you get stories from authors or specific authors? Now, at African Storybook and Nabu Storybooks is where we get our stories. So when you go to this website, you'll find open source stories that you can use for read aloud. Yes. And I saw African Storybook was represented. I'm not certain whether Dorcas is still in the call. If Dorcas, you're in the call, can you just say hi?
I think we dropped her at some point.
She dropped? Okay, it's all right. And then we also have Nabu Storybooks. Just same, when you get to this site, you can get open source stories. And then we have Wangari, the storyteller. This is an amazing storyteller. I think Wangari is still in the call. Wangari has voiced the crocodile. Wangari, please say hi.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for the surprise. I didn't expect to be part of the resources, so thank you very much for the recognition.
Yes, you're welcome. Wangari is an amazing narrator. She also does read alouds in school, in communities, everywhere. Yes, she believes story. The world is made of stories. Yes, and that's the slogan we are moving with. Yes. Okay, thank you so much. So I would love us to share if, let's say, for example, you've never interacted with these resources before and you've read stories for your learners or your kids before. Where do you get your stories? Just type in the chat, or you can just unmute. Where do you get your stories? Yes, for us, this is where we get our stories. And where do you get your stories? Just type in the chat. I'll just move to the next segment. Just type in the chat. Janice will help me capture that. And then just a quick one. We have amazing writers who have done very wonderful papers about storytelling. This is also a resource that we'll share with you so that you can explore. They've talked about childhood development, literacy and child development, and different literacy perspectives. So I will share this and you can also go and explore. And I think Sapel is in the call. Sapel is one of the amazing writers. Shout out to Sapel. If you can hear me, I don't know. Please, some reactions to Sapel. Yes, this is one of his papers. We'll share the resources so that you can go and read. Yes, and with that, we've come to the end of our session. Thank you so much for being amazing, such an amazing audience. Faith, is there any feedback about where our audience gets their resources?
Not yet, but we do have a comment from Trofena, who says, I have never thought there were more resources of getting stories for kids. I only knew of purchasing storybooks and visiting the library. Wow.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, this is a place. African Storybook allows you to even download a PDF format and you can read it offline. And with Nabu, you need to download their app, then you download the book, then you can read it offline from the app. Yes, the stories are very accessible and they explore, both sides explore different themes: environment, science, STEAM, love, friendship, family, whichever theme that you would love to read or cover with your learners, or any story that you want to read to your kid. all those books are there. So as I wait for you guys to share where you get your stories, I'll also love for Faith, please share the feedback survey. I would love you to please fill the feedback survey so that you can get feedback from you about how you found this session, and also want to know if you'll join us the next time. So as Faith is sharing, I'll just love to mention that African children's stories doesn't have like specific narrators. We always welcome volunteer narrators. So who narrates our stories? We have parents, we have educators, we have children narrating the stories. So if you would love to lend your voice to bring one of our stories to life, you're very, very welcome. And
Buffered there a little bit, but I believe we have gotten what you were mentioning, that if you would love to be narrators, you can reach out via stories@editab.africa.
yes, okay. Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thank you so much. And there's also another comment from Wangare. She says, I would also recommend to check out Super Great Kids Stories podcast. It has hundreds of audio stories from storytellers from all over the world.
Thank you so much, Wangari, for the resource. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being an amazing audience. Until next time. Bye.